mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, where I watch shit so you don't have to. And today I'm here to talk about Season 5, Episode 10, the season and series finale of HBO's Insecure, entitled Everything's Gonna Be Okay. I love this title for this episode because it ties in with a quote from Issa that I really liked in this episode. And she said, I just want to fast forward to the time in my life where everything is okay. And I think that's such a relatable feeling. And going through everything that she's gone through and that the other characters have gone through, dealing with heartache, dealing with pain, that idea of like, I think we've all been in that place where it's just like everything seems to be going wrong and you just want to get to a point where you can just kind of like go through life, even if it's for like a couple of months, where you don't have fucked up things happening to you. And, you know, I found that to be such a relatable concept and such a well-written line. And then the show does exactly that. It fast forwards to the time in her life where everything is okay. And I thought, well, before I actually dive into the episode completely, I want to say, you know, I've been critical of this season. I think that's all justified. I still stand by the fact that I feel like they kind of wasted time at the beginning. They could have had this Nathan, Lawrence, Issa situation, this dust up that happened in the last episode. Could have had that in episodes 3 or 4. And then they could have played around with the ramifications from that over the course of the rest of the season and brought us somewhere satisfying at the end. And that would have been a more, I think, satisfying trajectory. You know, when I look at people's reactions to the show, that's kind of what I'm seeing. People feel like it wasn't very well written. All those sorts of things. And I stand by that, but I will say, given the circumstances, given what we've had, because we can't change what we've seen in the previous 9 episodes, given what we've seen, this was the best possible outcome for this show. Like I think they handled everything in a way that makes it so that this ending was satisfying, even if a lot of the rest of the season wasn't. And the reason I say that is I think it was a really wise idea to jump around in time like that for a number of reasons. One, it does show that they continue to get together for each other's birthdays, as they committed to doing, which is important. You know, that's how you maintain these sort of friendships that start off when you're young and kind of dumb, making crazy decisions. And you maintain those friendships well into adulthood, to where like now you and your friends have, you know, kids and jobs, and you've been maybe, you know, dated multiple people, been through relationships, maybe even gotten married and divorced. Like all of those sorts of things, like you maintain your friendships through that via staying in touch and committing to something of that nature. And secondly, actually there's 3 reasons. Secondly, I know for me personally, I found this very, very relatable. I mean, that's been my experience, you know, and I understand that I'm fortunate to have had a core set of friends that I feel like these are my brothers, and I've had that for over 20 years. I understand that that's rare, but watching what happened in this episode, it's what I went through. You know, watching, and when I say went through, I don't want to mean like something I was subjected to, but this was my experience, was seeing my friends and myself change and evolve over the course of 20 years. And they don't do 20 years here, but you know, this is the reality of what it's like. You know, you have friends that, like, you know, you're really close to, and then maybe they start seeing somebody and you don't see them as much anymore, or they have kids and now they have responsibilities, or they change jobs, or they move. Like all of this is so relatable. You know, Tiffany moving to Denver. I got a friend who moved to California real early. I have another one who moved to Arizona, maybe like, I don't know, at this point, I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a lot longer than whatever I think it is. You know, you got friends that get married and get divorced. You got friends that start seeing different people. And it's like, okay, now this person is a part of our lives for however long. And then that person's gone. And then maybe that person comes back. Like, it's all so relatable. And then thirdly, it gave the show an opportunity to put characters where they needed to be at, but make it feel feasible and not rushed. Because that's a tough thing to do when you've had, for 4 seasons and 9 episodes, you've had your characters, 4 seasons and 9 episodes. Yeah, you've had your characters kind of spinning in place for the most part. And now you have a series finale where you want to say, this is where they end up. And they shot themselves in the foot by not building doing a slow build to where they end up throughout the course of the season. I think that's where they messed up. But even though they did that, doing these time jumps makes things more feasible, because you get to see how life really is. This happened with me and my wife. We were kind of together, then we weren't, then we got back together again. And like that's the reality of life. And if you had asked after episode 9, if Issa ends up with Lawrence, are you going to buy that? Or if Issa ends up with Nathan, are you going to buy that? And you would have given whatever answer you felt. But when they have it spread out over the course of, I don't know how much time passed at this point, but we're going to say something like 3-4 years, and you see Issa date some other guy. You see Lawrence date somebody else. You see Issa reach out to Lawrence and he's not available. You see Lawrence reach out to Issa and she's not available. Like that's that reality. So when you end up at a place where 3-4 years down the line, you could say this is where Issa and Lawrence end up, and they end up together as they've grown and they've changed. They've been through different relationships. They've had different experiences, and then they arrive at a place as this is where I want to be after I've tried everything else out. Not everything, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not making them out to be hoes. But that's I think that's a very realistic place for the show to end up. And I think they did the best they could getting there, given the fact that they didn't really give themselves time this season because they're bullshitting away through the first few episodes. So I'm being overly harsh right now, but I do think that this was a really good finale, and I feel like there's so many things that we can take away from this show. The way it's affected the culture, how it was like a moment in time where it's like everybody was rocking with this show, to see where it started from the web series to where it's ended up now, and the journey and everyone who Issa Rae, the actual actress, writer, creator, who she's brought up with her. It's an incredible journey, and I found the finale to be pretty satisfying from both a storytelling perspective and from a this is the end of our experience with this show, and now I can look back on the show as a whole, the 5 seasons, and go, this is the story that was told, and I am satisfied or not satisfied. In my case, I'm satisfied, but I'm like, you might be satisfied, you might not be, but I thought they stuck the landing with the finale. So, I might look back. Like I said, I've been pretty hard on season 5 overall, and I stand by that. But I do think that they did a pretty good job with the finale. So a couple of things I want to talk about, specific scenes and moments, and then I want to talk a little bit too about the cultural impact of the show, how it's impacted other people's lives. If you haven't watched it, there's like a documentary on the final season that also hit HBO Max the same day as the show. I'm assuming y'all watch it on HBO Max. Y'all might just actually be watching it on HBO, but I watch it on HBO Max. And I don't know if you watch it on HBO, if they aired that documentary right afterwards. I don't know, but there's a documentary on HBO Max that I think is very, very worth the watch. So if you're a fan of this show, watch that documentary. It was really, really good. Let's see. The final scene between Molly and Issa. I love that scene because when you look at it in universe, this is, the culmination of their journey. These two friends, and this story is it's about Issa and Lawrence, and it's about Issa and Molly. And I think an argument can be made that it is even more so about Issa and Molly. And this is the journey that these two have been on, and ending up in a place where, she's getting married, and she's like, thank you for everything you've done for me, all the ups and downs of our friendship. But when you look at it from outside of the universe and you think about who Issa Rae has brought up with her, that conversation was, I think, less a conversation between Molly and Issa D and more a conversation between Yvonne Orji and Issa Rae. And I think that's what made that scene so special, is that felt like them having a real conversation where it's like, thank you for everything you've done for me. Literally, you, Issa Rae. And it almost kind of felt like a natural moment and not a really well acted one. And that was I thought that was a great closing scene for them. I didn't like Nathan showing up again after he dumped Issa at the beginning. Nathan's such a piece of shit, man. I don't like it. How do you come up with a dry, monotone ass acting like sound like you have no feelings at all? Talking about, yeah, I know I was supposed to call, but yeah, you know how I be. Like, why are you here, man? Just take your dry, boring ass on. He stay ghosting people, but somehow still like acts like he does things. Like his response to what he does never is enough to justify what he did. Like he acts like he like left the stove on or something. like motherfucker, you dip for like however many months, ghosting, not replying back, like just completely took yourself off the map, and then you randomly show up however many months later, just go, yeah, you know, I was tripping that day. Like it was something stupid. Like I can't stand Nathan. I was glad when he dumped her. I'm like, okay, you could do better than this clown. So I also like the place that they put a lot of the other characters as well, because those all felt like satisfying endings for those characters. You know, Tiffany feeling conflicted about, you know, she's got this nice house in Denver. She doesn't have to work, but she's like, you know, I didn't want to be a real housewife of Denver. You know, she's just kind of just like, and like, this isn't all that. You know, I wish I was in LA. I'd like there to be some, you know, it would be nice if there's like they do like maybe like a 1 episode special, like a however long from now, and find out that Tiffany moved back to LA or something. Like that would be satisfying, because I don't like this ending for her. Corny. I would like to see everybody end up in a happy place, but that's not reality. And maybe, you know, we fast forward in a time, indeterminate amount of time, we could fast forward to the point where everything is okay for Tiffany as well. But yeah, Tiffany kind of ended up in a place where, well, she did end up pregnant, which they kind of slid in as like a background thing. But, you know, maybe that's an indication that she's more satisfied, or maybe it's an indication that she's kind of like relegated herself to just dealing with like, okay, I'm just gonna be a stay-at-home mom, and I'm just gonna find a way to be okay with that. But that's where she ends up. Kelly ends up, you know, I like how they did Kelly, because they showed her, you know, I'll help Molly's parents out with this estate planning. And they're just like, oh, she did a really good job. And they're like, so they set up something by dropping like the little breadcrumbs for it, to where now she's working estate law at Molly's farm. So I felt like that was an earned transition. And I like that for Kelly. And then I liked her being pregnant, even though that's something that, you know, we don't have, like the show has never really explored Kelly settling down. She's always just kind of been like that comic relief kind of aspect for her. But I think like Natasha Rothwell has been so good on this show. She was so good on The White Lotus, and I'm happy to see her finding success. You know, I watched in the documentary special, she talked about how she was a writer, and like doing the reads for the episodes, they were like, you're just so good as Kelly, why don't you just be Kelly? And I'm like, I hate to say this phrase, but I love that for her, because that's such a cool thing to do, where you like you write a character, and it's so much a character that resonates with you, that when you just are practicing playing that character, like you're being a fill-in essentially, and people are just like, you should just be this character because this is awesome. So I love where Kelly ended up, and I love how I've seen Natasha Rothwell kind of progress through this show and through her career in the various not too many, but still multiple things that I've seen her in. Molly loses her mom. That's a really rough scene. I like that they didn't linger on it though, because it would have felt like they were trying to manipulate your emotions and make you cry and all that. But more importantly, as devastating of a moment as that is for her, the structure of this episode with these time jumps, it shows a devastating moment in time. And then however many months later, she's still feeling it, but she's moving forward. Now she's getting married. And it shows that even though you might have one of those moments that's like the worst moment of your life, like this is terrible, at the end of the day, it's a grain of sand in your whole life. You know, there's still going to be a million other things that happen. So I kind of like that they didn't linger there, and they showed her, you know, kind of like scream out kind of, but then they moved on from it and they talked about it more, but they didn't just linger in that specific moment of grief. And I thought that was a wise decision on their part. Them being the show creators. So a couple of thoughts before I wrap up. Mira Issa again had a great episode. I love how she was it's weird, like in a moment where Issa's devastated about the situation with Nathan. And this is right before the I just want to fast forward part of my life where everything is okay line that I love so much, right before that, Mira Issa's like roasted her. I love you hate to see it. I thought that was awesome. I also liked when she when regular Earthbound Issa. I don't know what to fucking call her. Earthbound Issa. What the fuck? I like when she called Lawrence and was like imitating Louis Armstrong. Like, what the fuck? And then lastly, I really kind of like the stroll down memory lane they gave us at the end, because like there was a lot of things that, a lot of people we didn't see in this episode or in this season that we might have had attachments to in previous seasons. Like I've been complaining all season about how they underused Chad as a character, period. But especially this season and last season, they really underused Chad. Like they brought Lawrence back in, but they didn't bring in Chad the way that he was present originally. But we see Issa driving around. She drives past the dunes, and we see my man Thug Yoda out there, getting ready to watch Bear Bears. She drives past. We got y'all, and I'm pretty sure that was Frida, the white girl that she worked with, just with her head shaved. Seeing her there, that was cool. I don't think Chad appeared in this episode, but yeah, that was nice to get that little stroll down memory lane. And lastly, like I said about this documentary that happens afterwards, the legacy of the show, I want it to be a legacy, and I think it will. Like as time passes and we look back on this show, a show that celebrates and uplifts Black people, because like I didn't even understand the degree to which this show gave people opportunities. Like you think it, like a lot of this cast, besides Amanda Seales, was people that we hadn't seen before. This show gave new actors a chance. They talked about in this documentary how I think they said like 7 of the show's writers over the course of the show's run have gone on to become showrunners for other shows, and they were given their shot on this show. Like like some woman told a story where she was like, yeah, I was working on the show with something, and I told Issa, I emailed Issa like a script or something I'd written, and she thought it was good. They put me on staff, and now I'm a showrunner somewhere else. Like that's incredible to me, to take a chance on people and to give them a chance, these Black creatives around LA, and to say this is your shot, and then they end up taking that and running with it. And that was my favorite thing about this whole show, is how it gave a spotlight to unknown Black creatives and made them known. Think about all of the rappers, or not even rappers, the artists for musically who have gotten their shot from their music being played on this show. Think about actual artists, artists who create art like painting or whatever, like fashion or whatever, like the opportunities that those people were given. Everybody on the show, like the cinematographer tells her story. That's another thing that I think this show excelled at. It's excelled at the clothing, and that was another example. Fashion designers who they just picked out from from LA. Like they mentioned, like the episode this season where they were all just chilling at where it's kind of like that girls' night in kind of deal. Like the whole episode, the main cast was wearing clothes from Black female designers. Like that is so cool that they give these people these opportunities. And these are things that the show excelled at. Like regardless of how you think this show ended or how it was, you cannot say shit about the music. You can't say shit about the fashion. You can't say shit about the cinematography. Like all of that stuff was top of the line. And that's coming from me, like somebody, like most people don't look at cinematography. I look at that shit, and it's something that I've always noted about this show, is how they frame characters, how they light certain situations, the way the colors look at times. Like everything about it is on point. And these are all people that were given opportunities just because Issa Rae is just down to uplift people. And like that is so fucking incredible to me. Like I've always spoke incredibly highly of both Issa Rae and Michaela Cole. Like these are two incredibly talented Black women, and to find out that Issa has like to the degree that she has given these people opportunities, and they've made something of themselves because of her. When even you started from Yvonne Orji, or you go all the way down to local Black female fashion designer who Kelly wore her outfit in episode 7, something like that. All of these people had their lives changed because she is just, I guess, just a great person. Like, and we need more of that in life, man. And I think that was my favorite aspect of this finale, was watching that documentary and just having it really hit home how many lives she changed, which she didn't have to. Like something she just did out of the kindness of her heart, just given opportunities. And this is somebody who we don't see that story often, of somebody who goes from a web series and creates a show that becomes a phenomenon like that and becomes a huge star, and she still wrote the finale. Like you feel like you got a whole writing room of people who you've given opportunities. She's way super famous now. Like, I'm sure anybody could have written that episode, and she still wrote it. It was still good. She's so incredibly talented, and I am grateful for the 5-6 years we spent with this show and with these characters. And I'm to say, I can't say I'm grateful for Issa Rae, because she ain't done shit for me, but like, I'm grateful for what she has done for others, and we need more people like that. And I hope that that's the legacy of this show, is that it made something, it made opportunities, and it made people great who might not have gotten the opportunity otherwise. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. It's been a great run, and I'll see you guys. Whatever Issa does next, I'll probably be covering it here. So I'll see you guys then. Peace.